Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions presents Atlantic Coast Conference Football, the pregame show with Gary Sparber and Roman Gabriel.
Live from Death Valley, Frank Howard Field in Clemson, South Carolina. It's the University of Maryland Terrapins going against the Clemson Tigers. Interstate's ACC Today, brought to you by Interstate Securities, with over 60 offices to serve you throughout the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Clemson, South Carolina. I'm Chuck Dowdle, sitting in for Gary Sparber once again, who's still a bit under the weather, and we certainly hope he's feeling better. My good friend with me here, Roman Gabriel. And Roman, everyone here in Clemson, the big rumor in town is that the Tigers are locked into the Citrus Bowl.
Well, if they win today against Maryland, we understand that they will take the Citrus bid, and away they go to another bowl game.
Well, the Clemson Tigers have already won a share of the ACC title, but every time these two teams get together, big things happen. 1983 here in Clemson, a Guinness World Record for a balloon launch. More than 300,000 soaring skyward. In 1985, Terrapins tight end Farrell Edmonds with this controversial touchdown catch as Maryland beat Clemson 34-31 to win the ACC championship. Clemson coach Danny Ford visibly upset with a TD call. His protest leading to last season in Baltimore. Ford was banished to the press box by the conference, but he had a great seat to watch his clutch kicker David Treadwell nail this game-tying field goal in the final seconds. 17 all, and Clemson clinches the ACC crown. And now, 1987, Clemson on the verge of another ACC title, led by the nation's second-ranked defense. Number 91, defensive tackle Michael Dean Perry. He has made life miserable for opposing quarterbacks. 27 sacks, 60 tackles for losses. The Terps defense will counter with number 44, Kevin Walker. Maryland's leading tackler. He's given Terp fans something to cheer about. Walker has been in on more than 130 tackles this season, and that, of course, has been a big plus for head coach Joe Krivak in his first year leading the Maryland football program. Terrapins under Joe Krivak for the first year have an opportunity for a winning record if they can win here today over the Clemson Tigers and then beat Vanderbilt next week. There you hear the reception given the Terrapins as they hit the field here at Death Valley. But ironically, this place has been rather friendly to them through the years. In fact, they hold a winning record over Clemson here at Frank Howard Field. 10 wins and 7 losses against Clemson, playing on the Tigers' home floor. There you see the cannon ready to herald the welcome of the Clemson Tigers. And if you've never experienced the Tigers' arrival at Death Valley, sit back and enjoy one of the great moments in collegiate football. I think you can see what's in store for us here today. We'll be back with the kickoff after this message from Interstate Securities.
Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions presents exclusive live coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference football. Today's game is brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies, helping to put a brighter face on the future. By the airline of ACC country, Delta. We love to fly, and it shows. By First Wachovia, serving the financial needs of individuals and businesses in the Southeast and the nation. By Coors and Coors Light, the beers with a difference worth tasting. And by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevy truck. We are live in Clemson,
Clemson, South Carolina at Frank Howard Field, also known as Death Valley, and that it has been for most opponents through the years. Not necessarily the case, though, for the Maryland Terrapins, who have held a winning record over Clemson on this very hallowed Clemson Tiger ground, as they like to refer to it, here in Tiger Country. In fact, when you start to approach this area on the major highways, you immediately pick up paw prints. Giant orange paw prints that the Clemson Tiger fans have painted on the highway, leading all the way here to Death Valley. Clemson has won the toss and elected to receive. Dan Plocky will kick it off and deep for the Clemson Tigers. Number 21, Terry Allen, and number 33, Joe Henderson. And it's a scribber that Allen takes and goes out of bounds, and the official marks him out at the 8-yard line. Did he touch it before he went out of bounds? And I believe that, yes, he did. Let's see. There is a penalty and a procedure call against Maryland on the kickoff, so we'll have to walk back with it, Roman, tee it up, and go again.
That might be the best way, Chuck, of keeping Clemson from returning a kickoff, because Joe Henderson ranks number 2 in the country, averaging 30.1 tenths a yard per kickoff that he returns.
Take a look at the special teams there. You see that Clemson has performed well there all season, Roman, second in the NCAA in punt returns. And David Treadwell, we'll develop that story a little bit later on in this contest. If you got to have a guy kicking for you in the final seconds of a game, I can't think of anyone in the country I'd rather have than Mr. Treadwell. Blocky will now tee it up at the 30 after the penalty is assessed. And Clemson fans will get a chance to get all riled up one more time. That is Terry Allen. Got a couple of blocks and springs it to the outside. He's on his way. Terry Allen. He is gone down the sideline. Terry Allen all the way for a touchdown. There is a flag on the play, so hold everything. Clemson fans are celebrating. They do not see the flag at this point, but I believe they're going to bring it back. The kickoff return was good for 90 yards, but here's the call. Well, that hurts, Roman. If you're Terry Allen and you're out of breath, you think you've got 6, and now you got to walk back and find out that there's a clipping.
Well, for Maryland, it certainly takes a little pressure off of them. They kick off the first time, then they get a procedure penalty, have to come back, kicking it 5 yards longer. Clemson rated number 2, or Joe Henderson rated number 2, and they kick it to Terry Allen, and what does he do? Return it for a touchdown.
There you see Danny Ford trying to get an explanation on just exactly what did happen on the clip. Nevertheless, though, I think Tiger fans have got to be happy. They've got the ball at midfield. So Clemson goes on offense with 1st and 10 at the midfield stripe. The punt return, the kickoff return, I should say, was good for 55 yards then.
What Clemson would like to do on their 1st and 10 plays is get at least 4 or more yards per carry. That's their style of offense. They'll mix it up, 2 tight ends, 2 outside receivers, and 1 back. Then they'll go 2 backs with 2 tight ends and a receiver.
That was Ricardo Hooper in motion. Rodney Williams, the quarterback, and he shoots it out. He's got his receiver, but the Maryland defense is all over Gary Cooper. The Terps just nailed Cooper as soon as he touched the football. That'll be a loss of about 5 yards. And now for the ACC Delco starting lineup for Clemson.
Rodney Williams, the quarterback. Chris Lancaster, the fullback. Gary Cooper, a fine receiver for the Tigers. Offensive line, Dan Pearman, the tight end. Jeff Back, who's been very consistent as their center. John Phillips, the All-American right guard.
Williams now with 2nd down and 15 yards to go. Wesley McFadden in the backfield. They give it to McFadden, and he gets absolutely nothing. Stacked up right in the middle by Sean Scott and O'Brien Alston. And take a look now at the AC Delco starting defensive lineup for Maryland.
Those 3 guys up front: Robert Klein, Bob Arnold, the nose guard. The linebackers: O'Brien Austin, Richie Pettibone, Kevin Walker, an All-American candidate. The secondary: Kevin Folks, Chad Sidnor, the free safety.
So Clemson, after the great kickoff return, needs to convert here on 3rd and 15 to keep the football alive. And Rodney Williams with the reception to Keith Jennings. There's a flag down.
Chuck, we got pass interference on Irvin Smith, the right corner for the Maryland secondary.
Jennings still with the reception, so it will be good enough for the first down, and Clemson will keep it and keep a drive alive here against Maryland.
It's out of play action, dropping back to the right side, the crossing tight end. Jennings is squaring up, coming from the left side. Ball shot in there real well, but Irving Smith gets a hand on the back of Jennings. But I think Clemson's going to take the first down in the yardage, which they do.
You know, Jennings is banged up a little, but that shows great concentration there because he's getting knocked around some, and saw Joe Krivak looking on. He wasn't too happy with that. So first now and 10 yards to go for the Clemson Tigers at the 32-yard line. They pitch it back to Wesley McFadden, and McFadden with good yardage. Another Clemson first down inside the 20-yard line. O'Brien Olson, the outside linebacker out of Fort Washington, Maryland, making the tackle.
The toss back to McFadden. McFadden with a dislocated thumb averages 6.4 yards per carry. Hits up in there off that left side. Ty Granger, number 71, a good block. A very fine play by the Clemson Tigers.
Clemson also running behind Eric Harmon, number 76, the left guard out of Camden, New Jersey. Both those gentlemen doing a great job on the left side of the line. And there's McFadden again, but very little yardage this time as Maryland lying in wait. Bob Arnold, a nose guard and captain of that Terrapin defense, making the stop.
And the key for that Terrapin defense are those linebackers that Maryland has. O'Brien Austin, Richie Pettibone, Kevin Walker, Sean Scott, and Scott Saylor, who plays a lot in the ball game. They lead the team with all the tackles.
Roman, you're a quarterback. You come out, you hit that first pass on that 3rd and 15 that you needed. I would assume that the adrenaline's really got to be pumping now.
Oh, you got to feel good about this ball game.
2nd and 8, and they go to McFadden again. He's got a hole, and he is going to be near the first down. I do not believe he got it, but he will be very close, perhaps just a yard or two shy. And again, O'Brien Alston is the man on the Terrapin defense doing the job.
And out of the I formation, it's the counter. The tailback McFadden takes 2 steps over to pull the linebackers for Maryland. Opens up a hole to the left side. John Phillips pulling from the right guard. The All-American candidate does a super job, whether it's straight ahead blocking or whether he's pulling right or left.
Also in there, Kevin Walker, the sensational linebacker, perhaps the best athlete in that defensive back for Maryland. Walker has been in on 133 tackles this year, as we told you in our open. And now a 3rd down in short yardage. And Rodney Williams does not like what he sees. He calls timeout. Williams will take a timeout, so we will take a network break, and we will be back after this. Maryland nothing, Clemson nothing. Stay with us. Live at Frank Howard Field, Chuck Dowdle and Roman Gabriel with you. And Roman, the Clemson Tigers, they have taken this opening kickoff now down to the Maryland 13-yard line, but this is a critical play for them in this drive. 3rd down. You see they've got 2 yards to go.
They like the option here, Chuck. In a lot of games they will run that option play.
Oh, you called it. Williams turns it up in there, dives across the 10, and he has the first down. Number 60 in the white jersey is O'Brien Alston. And already we've called that young man's name several times here in the opening minutes.
Speaking to Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator for Maryland, the first priority of the Maryland defense was to try to take away the option. Stop the fullback, then the quarterback, then the pitch, and they had a chance at it that time.
Well, that's the first time Clemson's had a running play with anyone other than Wesley McFadden carrying the football. But it got him the first down, and now we've got some movement on the left side of the Clemson line. Looked to me like perhaps Ty Granger just jumped, and Danny Ford says, Ty, what are you doing that for?
And down in this particular area of the field, sometimes the quarterbacks will see a different defensive front and want to audible, and the offensive linemen aren't quite ready. They just want to fire out.
They hear the ball, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty.
They hear that sound and they jump.
They jump. They aren't quite ready to wait. They haven't settled down. They move the ball. They want the touchdown. So actually the change in the audible probably drew Granger offside as much as anything.
Granger, a great example of a student athlete. 3.2 grade point average. He is an all ACC academic performer, and that is something you can certainly identify with, Roman.
I sure can.
There's Terry Allen now with the carry, and he gets it back down right about the 10-yard line. So they'll pick up the 5 yards that they lost on the penalty, and it'll be 2nd down now and goal to go.
Here we go, number 61. This is what Phillips likes to do. He likes to get outside. There he is. He gets down underneath Walker and almost got him. And Walker is such a great player. He was able to scrape over top of Phillips and still make the tackle.
And we have a white jersey down on the field. Roman, I'm trying to get a number there to see who that is. It's Bob Arnold, number 99. And he is the captain of that defense, and that's a man that obviously Joe Krivak thinks a great deal of, as do the rest of the Maryland Terrapins, and he's getting up, and that's good news.
You notice the real large. Bob Arnold is playing football on guts this year. He has one cruciate ligament missing in his leg. Here's where we catch the action. Walker comes across Phillips, and it's hard to tell exactly what happened to Arnold, but Arnold already has the knee problem. It doesn't look as though it looks like a problem with his hand as he walks off the field here.
Joe Krivak looking on, hoping that his defense now can come up with a play to get things turned around and shut down the Clemson Tigers on their opening possession. Second down, goal to go. The ball at the 10-yard line. Rodney Williams has him up. And there's the pitch out to McFadden, and McFadden right at the goal line. Check that, making Terry Allen out of Commerce, Georgia, number 21. Right at the goal. He did not get in, but it was very close.
Big block by Keith Jennings, the outside receiver. As you see a double team there by Nunemacher and Phillips. Keith Jennings on the right side of your screen. He allows that play to get outside. It was a reverse option out of their spread offense with a single back. Last week they showed the fullback trap, so that's a new wrinkle out of that spread offense.
You can see he stepped out just at the 2-yard line, so it is now third down and goal to go from the 2. The football is free in the end zone, and Maryland has it. Tracy Johnson, the fullback, tried to go over for the Tigers. He coughed it up, and Mike Hollis, number 27, out of Rockville, Maryland, with the recovery for the Maryland Terrapins.
Just a simple goal line play. Hands it off in here to Terry, or is that the fullback, Tracy Johnson? Looked like the ball was hit with the helmet, bounced out.
J.B. Brown came up with that football out of Fort Washington, Maryland, but we will be back after this message from your local ACC station. Remaining in the first quarter, we are scoreless as Maryland has dodged a bullet here in the opening moments. A fumble recovery by number 4, J.B. Brown, in the end zone. And Neil O'Donnell is the starting quarterback, and that was much of a mystery around the Maryland area for the past week or so, whether it would be Dan Henning or Neil O'Donnell. But O'Donnell has gotten the nod. He is a sophomore, and he is back to throw right away. Pumps it now. He gets some pressure, and down he goes. Jesse Hatcher, number 55, came pouring in there and finally dragged him down back at the 10-yard line. Let's check the AC Delco starting lineup for Maryland.
And we have number 14, Neil O'Donnell at quarterback, not Dan Henning. Number 34, Dennis Spinelli, the fullback. James Milling at wide receiver. The tight end, Farrell Edmonds, who has 30 receptions this year already. John Rugg, the left guard. Joe Giuliano starting at right guard for his first shot.
So now second down and about 20 to go. This is Spinelli who gets it outside and gets a few of those yards back and is finally knocked out of bounds as the orange jerseys converge on him, led by number 92, Doug Brewster. And let's check that AC Delco defensive lineup for Clemson, Roman.
The big man at right tackle, Chuck, Michael Dean Perry. He has 23 tackles for losses this year. The linebackers, Vince Taylor, a new guy in there, and also Dorian Marable. 55, Jesse Hatcher just had his 6th sack. Donnell Wolford, the corner, has 12 passes broken up this year. Richard Smith is the safety.
A third down and 11 for Maryland on its opening possession of the game. And O'Donnell shoots it over the middle, and he's got his tight end. Or I should say he's got his split end. As Izzadin Abdur Rauf, and Rauf with the fine reception. It will be short of the first down. And Maryland will have to kick it away. And that's our AC Delco starting lineup for this afternoon. Remember, for automotive parts that don't just fit but match, look for AC Delco. Darrell Wright gets the kick away. And Donnell Wolford with the reception. And it will be marked at the Clemson 46-yard line. So the Tigers will get it once again, and again in good field position at their own 46.
True test of two teams. Maryland's punt and kickoff coverage teams are probably one of the best in the ACC.
That is a 30-yard punt. We will take a break, and we will be back with Clemson's second possession. Maryland nothing, Clemson nothing. 8:53 to play in the first quarter. We are live at Death Valley, and there you see Bob Arnold, the nose guard and captain of that Maryland defense, being led off the field here with his arm in a sling. That, of course, not at all good news for Maryland, and they need to be tough on defense. This season so far in the first quarter, they've been outscored 77-22. Rodney Williams pitches it back to Joe Henderson. Henderson in there now at tailback. You know, Clemson's got a number of those guys they can run at you, Roman. They've had 4 different backs with more than 100-yard games this year.
And Terry Allen has 782 yards, which is the #1 yardage maker in the ACC, followed by Wesley McFadden, who has 608 yards, and Joe Henderson has 277.
Now, Henderson's out of Freehold, New Jersey, which all music fans will recognize as being the home of Bruce Springsteen. But perhaps he's the second best known
I knew you were going to get that in.
Out of Freehold. Second down. 6 yards to go. This time they give it to the first man through. That's Tracy Johnson. And it's a very short pickup. A very short pickup. In fact, no gain at all. Ball still at the midfield stripe.
On that option play, Maryland was able to do what they had set their plan for, take the fullback away, and at the same time try to get to the quarterback. Warren Powers, number 90, applied the pressure to Rodney Williams.
Allen now the setback behind Williams. He turned, nobody there, now pitches it out, and Allen's got some running room and is finally knocked out of bounds, but he's got the first down. They'll mark him out at the 37-yard line of the Terps, but he's got his first down, and Clemson will keep the football.
And Clemson spread formation, 2 tight ends, 2 wideouts, 1 back. It's a counter option play. Keeps the Maryland defense balanced up front. Keith Jennings, the wide receiver, again with a fantastic block, which allowed Allen to gain those yards.
That was Chad Sidnor who came over and drove him out of bounds. But Clemson now with a 1st and 10 at the 37 of Maryland. They had 1 scoring opportunity, go by the boards with a fumble in the end zone. And now trying to get it down close enough again, and Terry Allen knocked out at the 31. Again, number 60, O'Brien Alston, and number 44, Kevin Walker, in on the stop for Maryland. You know, Allen already has 30 yards. He's carried the ball 4 times, so they're going to get their money's worth out of him here early. Now you've got Allen and Tracy Johnson in the I formation behind Williams. Pitch it back to Allen, and Allen breaks the tackle, gets another 4 or 5 yards, and is finally knocked out of bounds, but that'll be good for another Clemson first down. Tigers now got the action going on the ground, Roman.
An option play coming at you on your television screen. Fake to the fullback. Rodney Williams, the magician, pitches it out here to Terry Allen, and that's Keith Jennings, 87, the receiver out there blocking again.
Well, Jennings not only catches the ball well when he's being bumped around, but he can block too. And you got to love that if you're a receiver's coach. No gain that time. Joe Henderson carrying the football, and Dwayne Dunham, number 98, making the stop for Maryland.
Pitch back to the right side, or a slant off the right side. Dwayne Dunham took the area that was negated and came on in and made the tackle. He don't make the stop, Allen might get more yardage.
So Williams now with a 2nd down and 10. He's going to the air, and he had a receiver, but he got the ball just a bit behind him. He was trying to hit number 25, Gary Cooper, but the ball was just a bit behind him, and Cooper got a hand on it but couldn't handle it.
Rodney Williams didn't get his feet set. He sprints out left side. Gary Cooper turns in to make this curl pattern. Ball's a little off the right side. Wasn't able to get to it. Sometimes the quarterback expects the receiver to stop quicker. That time, Gary Cooper came a little bit too far inside.
So it is 3rd down now, and just a shade over 10 yards to go for the first down. The snap clock down to 7 seconds, 6 seconds. He better hustle. He gets it away, and he's got the draw play, and that is Henderson. And Henderson had a little running room right up the middle. It will not be enough for a first down, but it should set up David Treadwell very well for a field goal attempt.
Sean Scott, the outside linebacker for the Terrapins, came in to make the shoestring tackle on Henderson.
Treadwell, 17 out of 20 field goal attempts good in 87. And you see his ratio from the 36-yard line, 26. It'll be a 36-yard field goal attempt. He hits it, and it is good. So David Treadwell with a 36-yard field goal has given the Clemson Tigers a 3-0 lead.
He's the #1 kicker in the NCAA, averaging 2.13 field goals a game, 85% accuracy.
So we will be back with more after this. Live at Frank Howard Field in Clemson, South Carolina. This place known as Death Valley to Clemson Tiger fans and to many opponents through the years. And the Clemson Tigers with a 3-0 lead on the strength of a David Treadwell 36-yard field goal. Clemson with a victory here today, Roman, could win the ACC title outright. They are assured of at least a tie.
They don't need anybody's help, so that's why on this kickoff team they've got 3 guys that really get down the field to make a lot of tackles. 24 Reggie Harris has 16, Tyler Graham's 15, Matt Riggs 4.
The scoring drive you see for the Tigers, 8 plays, 34 yards, and the 36-yard field goal by David Treadwell. And you know, the most amazing thing I think about Treadwell has been the fact that he is so dead on in the final seconds of ball games. I believe 5 out of 5 kicking game-tying or winning field goals in the final 40 seconds. And if you're a coach, you got to love that. Rusty Sile hits it, and it is out of bounds. So that will be a procedure penalty against the Tigers. They'll have to back them up 5 yards and kick it again. Maryland has number 33, Arnold Walker, deep on the receiving team. They put just the sole setback back there to receive the kickoff. Sile, normally the punter for the Clemson Tigers, but he also handles the kickoffs.
It is amazing, Chuck, the point that you brought up about Treadwell. In the 4th quarter in 6 ball games over the last 3 years, 4 of those games he's kicked field goals to win, and 2 of them to preserve a tie for the Clemson Tigers.
Well, I know Vince Dooley has seen all he wants to see of him, because in the past 2 years alone, he's beaten Georgia in the final seconds of games with clutch field goals. And he has his Tiger teammates a 3-0 lead here in the early going. 6:09 to play in the 1st quarter, and Clemson leading at 3-0. And Sile now to kick it off again from the 30 this time. Here's a good look at it. Crew doing an excellent job. Going to bring this one right into your living room. And there goes Arnold. He's got some room, gets a couple of blocks, and gets it out over the 30, out to the 31-yard line. So Maryland with a little bit better field position this time by about 11 yards than they had on their first possession. John Johnson, number 12, was the man who was down and made the stop on special teams for the Clemson Tigers. The return good for 20 yards, and Maryland takes over 1st and 10.
Maryland has a sprint out package specifically to try to slow down the Clemson defense for this particular game.
Neil O'Donnell is considered to be a little bit more of a sprint out type quarterback. Perhaps that's why he got the nod today over Dan Henning. That was number 32, Brent Lowry, who found plenty of running room around the right side. Richard Smith, the free safety, ran him out of bounds, but not before he picked up about 7 or 8 yards. Well, actually, they mark it back and say he stepped out at the 34. So
it's a pitch sweep to the right side, off the right side, going down the hash mark here. Brent Lowry does a good job getting as much as he possibly could before he was hammered out of bounds.
So a pick up of 5. It'll be 2nd down now and 5 yards to go. O'Donnell again. He tried Lowry, and Lowry found immediate company in the person of number 81, Otis Moore. Otis, big boy too, 6'3", 260 pounds. So when he comes at you, you know you got trouble.
Chuck, Otis Moore looked like he was coming down the hill when he made this tackle. His feet were still working, so he has really added to that defensive front of the Clemson Tigers.
When you're a sophomore in college and weigh 260 pounds, there's a heap of guy in that uniform.
It sure is.
Small loss on the play, 3rd down and 6, and O'Donnell shoots it over the middle. He's got his tight end, Farrell Edmonds, who has broken a tackle, and he is gone. Farrell Edmonds, a senior, 6'4", 235 pounds, perhaps the most highly sought tight end in the country, along with Keith Jackson at Oklahoma, and there you see why. He reminds me so much, Roman, of Kellen Winslow.
It's actually a read screen. The quarterback reads the tight end first. He's open. There's the missed tackle by Richard Harris to free safety, and Farrell Edmonds, if you don't hang on and grab hold of something, he's going to take it all the way, and this is exactly what he does. All the way for the touchdown. Remembrances of a couple of years ago when he caught the one in the end zone to beat Clemson.
Blocky with the extra point. It is good, and now Maryland has climbed back on top of Clemson by the score of 7-3. But I'll tell you what, Roman, you start to talk about this gentleman, Farrell Edmonds, and you look for a tight end who can block, a tight end with speed, a tight end with good hands, and this guy seems to have all of that. Plus, he's got the great size, 6'4", 235 pounds. So you're talking about the NFL prototype tight end.
You sure are, Chuck, and he has the quickness to get downfield deep, which is evident in his statistic of 16.4 yards per reception. Also, as you mentioned, he's able to cave down the left or right side of the line. He's 235 pounds, 6'4". He has all the equipment. Should be a #1 choice in the National Football League this year.
No question about it. I remember Winslow, of course, came out of Missouri, and he was a #1 draft pick of the San Diego Chargers and had so many fine years with them. And I think this gentleman has a similar NFL career ahead of him, because he certainly shows all of the things that an NFL scout would love to see. That was just a great example. And once he broke the tackle, there was nobody gaining on him. So he's got the good speed.
He's like a guy I used to know that played with Jack Snow. Whether he was in his uniform or out of his uniform or in his street clothes, he still ran 4.7. But the big key, if somebody was trying to catch him, they never could.
That's what you call being just fast enough. Huh?
Just fast enough.
So we've got Henderson and Allen deep again for Clemson, and Blocky will kick it off. Maryland now with a 7-3 lead. The ball is fumbled by Henderson, but he picks it up, tries to find some room, and he almost pops out of there and gets it all the way out to the 38-yard line. So often, Roman, you will see that happen. A receiver will drop the football on the kickoff and then somehow or another turn it into a nice return.
Take a good look now as we see this Clemson team. They're so tough on kickoff returns, especially this fella, Joe Henderson, 30.1 yards per carry. Up the left side, Pierman, Coley, the two tight ends, 88 and 89, were there making blocks for him. That's what it takes. That wedge has to form very quickly and open up the hole.
And he got 30 yards on the return. 1st and 10 now for the Tigers. Their own 38-yard line. Williams keeping it on the option and now pitching it back to Allen. Allen out over the 40, out to about the 43-yard line. So a pickup of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5.
First down play. Clemson wants to get more than 4 yards. That's what they've been doing. It's the option. Fake to the fullback. Pitch it out now to Terry Allen. And there he is making the play. Dan Pierman, the tight end, was out in front of him. So Clemson's accomplishing on offense what they want. Be second short rather than second long.
Allen and Lancaster behind Williams. In motion was Ricardo Hooper, and that is Allen. And Allen will be very close to the first down. He's up at about the 48-yard line, which is where he needed to be for the first down, and they say he got it out to midfield. Number 46 is Scott Saylor, who made the stop. He has had a good year for the Terrapins. He is out of Penn Argyle, Pennsylvania, 6 feet, 227 pounds.
He actually doesn't start, but he's the second leading tackler on that Terrapin defense.
You know, so often they say it's not important who starts, it's who's in there at the end, right?
That's right. How you finish up, that's what counts.
First and 10 now for Clemson, and Williams dropping. He's got a receiver wide open over the middle and hits him in stride. That's Gary Cooper. Touchdown, Clemson. Sets off about 50,000 screaming renditions of Hold That Tiger. 9-7, and here's Treadwell with a point after. It's good, and it's 10-7. Take another look at it, and this would be from the perspective of the quarterback, and here's what he saw.
It's out of that triple option look, but in Clemson's frame of mind, their option play has 4 choices, not only fullback, quarterback, tailback, but to the outside receiver, Gary Cooper. You need the blocking up front to buy the quarterback, Rodney Williams, the time. Look at Nunemacher and take a good look here. It's John Phillips, the right guard. And there's the throw. Perfect throw by Rodney Williams, who's taken a lot of heat about his passing, but over the last 3 weeks, the young man has done the job.
Well, that was ideal. I mean, he hit him in stride, and the play action bought him just enough time back there to spot his receiver and look up. And Cooper really had the step. He was gone. So Sile will tee it up and kick it off again. This will be like the 4th or 5th of these, counting the penalties that we have already had here in the early going. 3 minutes and 44 seconds to play in the first quarter. Clemson 10, Maryland 7.
We talked about it earlier, Chuck. If you want to get up on Clemson, you have to score early because they generally don't. But both teams are scoring points.
That's Barry Johnson. And I believe they say he signaled for a fair catch, Roman. Barry doesn't believe that he did so. But the official's saying, yep, that's a fair catch, which you can do on a kickoff. You can call for a fair catch on a kickoff. And now Joe Krivak wants an explanation of just what happened, and that's what he's being told.
Joe's probably saying, well, we didn't call a fair catch. I never said anything about calling a fair catch on the kickoff. It is a little indifferent to call a fair catch. It looked as though Barry Johnson had plenty of room to make the catch and possibly gain a few yards.
Well, the gentleman in the white hat is referee Dale Phillips, and he'll tell us.
Fair catch signal. And we have a dead ball foul on the receiving team. It's half the distance to the goal.
And now some more explanation for Joe Krivak. And they'll take it back to the 5-yard line. Now watch closely. You will see the kickoff is short. The back man was Arnold.
One of the up guys.
Barry Johnson comes over. I did not see a fair catch signal.
I didn't see it either.
Now perhaps our cameras just missed it, which would be highly unusual, but I did not see a fair catch signal. Nevertheless, 1st and 10 for Maryland at the 5. Spinelli with very limited running room in the middle. Gets a couple out to about the 7.
Almost had a fumble there. Spinelli didn't get the ball as well as he should have. Bobbled it a couple times going into the line of scrimmage.
Tony Stevens making the tackle. He's got a senior is playing playing his last game here at Death Valley. John Rugg shaken up a bit, but he's trotting off the field.
Maryland can ill afford to lose any linemen. They've lost 4 over the year, and now that makes number 5.
Well, they've had to do a lot of makeshift things with their offensive line this year, has Maryland. Their center, Bill Hughes, one game played all the positions. Center, guard, tackle, played it all. 2nd down. 13 yards to go, and the pass is incomplete. O'Donnell was trying to find his wide receiver, James Milling. But Donald Wolford was there on the coverage, batted it away. Incomplete, and it'll be third down.
Man-to-man coverage, Chuck. That's why he was on him so tight. That's 13 passes broken up this year already for Donnell Wolford.
So now it is third down and 13 yards to go. Maryland not only needing to get some breathing room, but to also see if they can get that first down. They try the draw play. And Clemson is just camped all over it. Spinelli was carrying it, but number 77, J.C. Harper, the defensive tackle, was just sitting there waiting and wrapped him up.
J.C. Harper, who's in for William Perry, actually gets blocked into the play by Ben Jefferson, makes an outstanding stop.
Maryland gets the punt away, and quickly James Lott has it at the 49, cuts it up the field, tries to split the defenders, and gets it down to the Maryland 45-yard line.
The leading tackler on those Maryland punt and kickoff return teams, Dean Green, just made his 17th stop, number 30.
So Clemson now with a 1st and 10. They lead 10-7. And once again in Maryland territory. There you see Dean Green.
He's also their nickel back. He plays a very good brand of football.
I know coaches love to see those guys that excel on special teams. Tracy Johnson now set behind Rodney Williams. Clemson looking for more points, and Johnson gets the carry but gets very little yardage, maybe about a yard and a half. Kevin Walker, who of course is the leading tackler, as we told you earlier, for Maryland, over to make the stop.
And a nice block by the left guard, number 75, Pat Williams, pulling out. Even though they didn't get much yardage, Pat Williams, who's the second team offensive guard, playing some good football.
There's a look at Tracy Johnson, his numbers on the year. Joe Henderson now comes in to replace him. 2nd and 9. Henderson with the pitch. Gets it down to the 40-yard line, and flags fly. Chad Sidnor, number 19, over to make the stop, along with number 46. I also saw in there who is Scott Saylor. There you see Kevin Walker listening to the officials, and they'll decide exactly what the infraction is, and we will wait. Joe Krivak looking on, along with Danny Ford.
Holding on the offense, 10 yards.
So Clemson will be penalized 10 yards, and they'll back them up. That moves them back into Clemson territory, but barely, just over the 50-yard line. 2nd down now and 15 yards to go. I formation for the Tigers on 2nd and 15. Williams sprints out and fires it. The ball bounces around, and is it intercepted? Yes, it is. Intercepted. Scott Whittier, number 38, with the interception, the diving interception for Maryland. Keith Jennings was the intended receiver, but he could not handle it. The ball bounced off, and Roman, big turnover here.
Sprinting right side. Ball's a little high, but it was played very well by J.B. Brown. He got an arm up the left side, and then it bounces off and goes right into Scott Whittier's hand. But unless he's hustling, he wouldn't be in the spot to make that play.
So already now, Clemson, despite leading 10-7 with a couple of critical turnovers, and Maryland going back on offense. 1st and 10. Maryland with the football now at its own 38-yard line. Looking deep and intercepted. Donald Wolford with the interception. Neil O'Donnell was trying to go to Vernon Joines. Joines was well covered. In fact, the football was thrown past Joines, and Wolford was right there for the reception.
Maryland has motion coming left to right, trying to match up and get man coverage. O'Donnell throws this ball as far as he possibly could, but his receiver Joines couldn't get there. Donnell Wolford now has 4 interceptions on the season.
So Clemson takes it right back, and now with the football, 1st and 10 at its own 26-yard line. 1:24 to play in the first quarter. Clemson leading it 10-7. If you've just joined us, we've had a wild one up to this point. We had a 50-yard touchdown pass by the Clemson Tigers. We had a 60-yard, 66-yard touchdown pass by the Maryland Terrapins. Chris Lancaster carrying the football that time for Clemson and gets just a few yards. There you see the clock winding down.
Two plays that Clemson likes in the second or second 8 situation are the fullback draw, the tailback draw, and also the misdirection counter by the tailback.
Henderson and Lancaster now in behind Rodney Williams. And Williams with second down and 8 yards. Pitching it back, and that's Henderson, and Henderson tries to juke and see if he can't find a little bit of daylight, and that's exactly what he does find, just a little bit.
Chuck, you notice how Clemson's offense slows down quite a bit when they've got second and 8 rather than second 4 or 5. They're not a kind of team that likes to have long yardage on second down. They prefer making a big play on first down and then being able to run the ball on second short rather than second long.
Well, they come up now, Roman, with a 3rd down and 6. And Lancaster's the lone setback, and Williams lofts it out. He's got his receiver, and it will be very close to the first down. Kevin Folks was over on the coverage, but Doug Thomas, number 41, pulled it down. Let's see if he got enough for the first down. The clock is stopped. Well, now it continues to run, and we are just about out of time in the first quarter.
They're in the spread offense. Doug Williams inside, takes an outside route here. It's tough to tell if he makes that first down. He dives for it, so he knew where the marker was, and that's being smart.
They mark him just short of it, so it will be 4th down and about a foot. And 10-7 Clemson. We will be back with the second quarter after this. 1 down, 3 quarters to go. We're getting ready to start the second quarter here at Death Valley in Clemson, South Carolina. The Tigers leading it 10-7. Clemson with a 4th and about a foot and a half, and apparently Danny Ford has elected to punt it away. Rusty Sile has checked in. Sile averaging 37 yards per kick. There you see the first quarter stats, and the big difference there, Roman, that time of possession.
Time of possession, and also the rushing game, which we know how much Clemson likes to rush the football and how less Maryland has been able to be effective all year long on the ground.
Sile, the punter out of Savannah, Georgia. He's done a good job here at Clemson. Standing back at his own 25-yard line is Maryland's John Bonato. Sile gets a snap, gets the kick away, and boy, it is a dandy. All the way back to the 15-yard line. Bonato dances, gets it out over the 20, but no more.
Jesse Hatcher, number 55 on the tackle, number 8 for him for the year. Those special team linebackers like to get down and put a hat on somebody.
Yes, sirree, out of Thompson, Georgia. Junior outside linebacker with good speed. But Maryland gets the football back now, 1st and 10 at its own 23-yard line. Just starting the second quarter, the Terps down by 3, 10-7. It has been a good one. 78,000 on hand here at Death Valley to watch this. O'Donnell gives the handoff that time to number 32, Brent Lowry. And Lowry with a couple of yards out near the 30, but we have a flag, I believe. You see holding against Maryland, so that will wipe out the small gain by Brent Lowry and put the Terps again back in poor field position. Roman, when you're a quarterback and you're trying to get something going and you're continually starting back at your 10, your 12, it's got to be frustrating.
10-yard penalty.
It certainly is, Chuck, because whenever you have that opportunity to get out around the 30 to 40, here's the first down. Look at what both Maryland and Clemson have done on 1st and 10. Maryland, look at this. 3 yards rushing, 1 yard passing. Clemson's got 9 and 2, 7.5. That's the big thing. 7.5 yards per shot on first down. That's exactly Clemson's game plan.
Now Maryland with a 1st and 20. And backed up all the way to their own 14-yard line. Neil O'Donnell and Dan Henning have been sharing the quarterback duties throughout quite a bit of this season, particularly in recent weeks. O'Donnell got the nod today, and he pitches it to Arnold Walker, and Walker knocked out of bounds after a short gain. John Johnson, number 12, out of LaGrange, Georgia. Also getting a little help there from number 27. That's Gene Beasley. He's an Atlanta native.
Getting back to your question about poor field position, the biggest thing that O'Donnell has to consider, though, is they're still in this game. It's 10-7, so don't do anything drastic. Don't try to do anything too cheaply. Don't lose field, or don't give the ball up to Clemson down in this territory.
No time to get excited. You're still in your game plan. Just waiting. Let nature take its course. And on 2nd and 16, he's got to scramble. He finds some daylight up through the middle and finally knocked down at the 20-yard line. O'Donnell showing some good mobility there, Roman.
Drops back. One of the reasons he's starting over the last 3 weeks, he does have the mobility, has a strong arm. As you see here, makes a heck of a decision, pulls the ball down, and is able to get a couple of yards up the middle.
John Johnson again on the stop there. You know, I talked to Don Shula yesterday, and Shula was telling me the thing that he remembers most about you was you had the great ability to break those tackles, snap out of things, and then make big plays afterward.
I got lucky.
O'Donnell now pulls it down. He's going to try to run with it, and he's finally knocked out of bounds. He is well short of his first down, so Maryland will have to kick it. But O'Donnell trying to scramble, and Doug Brewster out of Athens, Georgia, ran him out of bounds. He just did not have the real estate to work with over on the left side.
Did not have anybody to throw to. Clemson secondary doing a nice job covering the Maryland receivers.
Linnell Wolford drops back, and he is standing at his 40. Gets the kick at about his own 37. Dances out to the 45 where he is knocked down, but Maryland has to again go on defense with Clemson with the football at its own 45-yard line. So Clemson with a 10-7 lead. We will be back after this. Don't forget to stay with us at halftime. We'll go around the league. We'll have our ACC Champions feature this week, featuring Donna Holt of the University of Virginia, and our One for the Book feature with Boomer Esiason of Maryland. Back at Death Valley in Clemson, South Carolina, Chuck Dowdle along with Roman Gabriel. We are 12 minutes and 35 seconds to play before intermission. Clemson with the football and a 3-point lead, 10-7 on top of Maryland. This game with all sorts of bowl implications, and don't believe for 1 second that Bowl Scouts aren't in attendance, because they are from virtually every major bowl in the nation. In fact, 9 are here today. Look at Rodney Williams on the keeper, just making something happen, getting it down into Maryland territory. Wayne Powers, number 90, and Kevin Walker again come in to make the stop on him. But Williams with a great job here, Roman.
Look at the Maryland defenders converge down on the fullback. Williams pulls it out. He does this as well as anybody in the country. Rodney Williams is a fine option quarterback, and he's a leader.
You know, he has drawn some criticism this year, as we pointed out earlier, but what's amazing about him, you know, he needs only 2 more wins to tie Homer Jordan as Clemson's all-time winningest quarterback. That's Allen this time. Look at him trying to find some room. Can he get a block? He's got one. Can he shake a man? Finally knocked down at the line of scrimmage. He ran 110 yards, and he got nothing.
Tracy Johnson, the fullback, 42, allows Terry Allen to cut back against the grain. You'll see up top here, number 42, as Terry Allen comes out left side behind John Phillips. He starts to go back to the right side. There's Tracy Johnson's block, knocked down 2 people. Now he only has 1 guy to beat. J.B. Brown's there and hangs on to make the stop.
That may be one of the toughest things in football to do, is to make that good open field tackle. And J.B. Brown just stood his ground and dragged him down. No gain, 2nd and 10. You got to give Allen a little credit for creativity, though. 2nd and 10. And a pitch back, this time to Allen again. And Allen finds some daylight on the left side this time and gets it down to the 36-yard line. Again, J.B. Brown meets up with him along with Chad Sidnor. You also see Kevin Walker as you will throughout the afternoon, because if there's a man wearing a white jersey who will be around that football all afternoon on defense, it is indeed Kevin Walker.
And surprising that Kevin Walker, who was in those 15th finalists for the Dick Butkus Award, yesterday it came out that he was not included in the last 7, and I don't understand that, because the games that we've seen, Kevin Walker has played as well as any linebacker in the United States.
He is an aggressive one, and he is a sure-handed tackler. Allen and Lancaster now in the I formation behind Williams. In motion is Hooper. And the pitch is to Allen. Allen bounces it outside. Finds a little daylight. He's got his first down and more inside the 15-yard line. Let's see where they'll mark it, down near the 17, I believe. Rolling another great run by Terry Allen.
3rd and 2 or 3. They generally hand it out to the tailback, or Rodney Williams keeps it. Here, Terry Allen gets it on the option outside. Keith Jennings, 87, right there. Jennings is some kind of player.
Jennings blocking on J.B. Brown, and J.B. was just kind of outmanned. He's 6'1" and 183, and of course Jennings 6'4" and 225, and that makes a difference.
Makes a big difference.
1st and 10 now for the Tigers. They're threatening. They lead it by 3, 10-7. 1st and 10. That's McFadden as he comes back into the ball game now. He started, but this is the first time we've seen him since that opening series. Wayne Powers, number 90, and Mike Kiselak, number 72 for Maryland, knock him down.
When Clemson gets down into this area of the football field, they enjoy running a reverse play. I'm not sure whether they'll do it or considering this particular time of the game, but they have done that.
Well, you need not be a great student of the game of football to understand one of the keys to Clemson's success this year is they really have the horses in that backfield. They keep shuffling them in and out. They keep fresh men back there, and they're all very talented. This time it's Joe Henderson behind Rodney Williams. And Henderson will get it on the pitch out, steps around one defender, and is finally dragged down inside the 15-yard line. But he, again, is very close to a first down. In fact, I believe he got another one.
John Phillips, the right guard, going to come out here on this counter option, fullback reverse, or quarterback reverse spins. Phillips doesn't quite get there, but Henderson almost had a face mask. Henderson made some on his own.
Well, if it is another Clemson first down, and they will have to measure, Joe Krivak and Danny Ford, obviously with differing opinions on how close it will be. But if they do have it, and they do, that is the 9th first down for Clemson. Maryland has but 1. There you see the offense versus defense, and Clemson number 1 in the ACC on rushing offense, 250.8 yards per game. Woo! And so far this afternoon, how about that? That's a little one-sided.
It sure is. 131 yards already.
First down for Clemson. 10 yards to go. They can get a first down at the 4. Pitch it back again. That's Henderson trying to find the daylight inside the 10 down to the 8-yard line. Sidnor, number 19, making the stop.
Clemson with 2 tight ends most of the ball game. They force your defense to balance up. Then they'll audible to go right side or left side. Here they just pitch back to Joe Henderson, who takes it off the right tackle. Clemson's offensive linemen are just establishing the line of scrimmage on Maryland's defensive side of the line.
Jeff Back, that center out of Darien, Connecticut, at 6'2", 255 pounds. He's done an outstanding job. Second down, 5 yards to go. The ball at the 9. Right up the middle. Touchdown, Terry Allen and the Clemson Tigers. Boy, Roman, they opened a hole that time, and it was big daylight there.
There it is, a straight handoff coming off the top. Allen follows Eric Harmon, the left guard, Jeff Back, the center, and John Phillips. Really, the whole offensive line for the Tigers is just doing a super job blowing back the Maryland defense.
6 more points for Clemson, now 16-7. Treadwell on to attempt the point after to make it 17. The They just don't get no better than that. Right down the middle, 17-7 now. Clemson with a 10-point lead. Take another look at the touchdown, Roman. Watch these blocks.
Coming off the ball, that's what it is, and that's the offensive side. As you see there, also Lancaster leading the way. Big hole. It was almost as though Terry Allen, whenever he raised his head up and looked, holy cow, there's nobody there, just the end zone.
Eric Harmon helping, pulling out of his left guard position. 17-7 Clemson, and we'll be back after this message from your local ACC station. 8:19 to play in the first half. The Clemson Tigers leading the Maryland Terrapins 17-7. Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions, under an agreement with the Atlantic Coast Conference, holds exclusive television rights to ACC football. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, duplication, or reception of this broadcast without the express written permission of Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions is prohibited. The announcers of this game are approved and selected by Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. There you see happy Terry Allen, and who can blame him? 11 carries, 76 yards. Even with my simple math, I can tell you that that's almost 7 yards a carry.
He actually could sit down the rest of the game, and he's had a good day.
Take a look at that scoring drive, and as you do, I'll tell you right now that all 8 plays on the scoring drive were runs. They kept it right on the ground. And if I was some of those running backs, I believe I'd be taking those offensive linemen out for dinner after this game. Arnold Walker is deep. That is Rusty Sile, who is set to kick it off.
And what Maryland needs here is a good kickoff return to get some field position.
Walker out of Connellsville, Pennsylvania, has a little bit of trouble with it. Now picks it up, breaks one tackle, can't break a second, and is knocked down at the 22-yard line. Number 16, Wayne Harps, who is another one of those fine offensive linebackers with good speed. He's the man who got down on special teams to make the tackle.
Walker dropped the ball, and there you see Wayne Harps. That's number 8 for him this year. Wayne Harps, the special teamer, really having a great time out there.
Was that classic tackling form, too. Had him down around the legs, wrapped those arms, locked them. 1st and 10 now for Maryland. Down by 10 points at 17-7. Here's O'Donnell into the air. He's got his receiver, who is knocked down immediately. Number 22 is James Milling on the reception, but O'Donnell drilled him. Came out and just hooked in front of the defender. And O'Donnell put it right on his numbers.
And the life of a quarterback is not always that easy. 96, Richard McCullough. 6'5", was the one that put the pressure on O'Donnell, and he delivers this ball on time. Fantastic throw with somebody that's 6'5" in your face.
First down for Maryland. Ball now out to the 35-yard line. That was Raouf in motion. The give is to number 33, Walker. Walker gets another couple of yards out near the 37, 38-yard line. Number 92, Doug Brewster out of Athens, Georgia, making the stop for Clemson.
And the one thing to keep Clemson off balance, you almost... There we go. We got a score here. Boston College 17, Syracuse 7 in the second quarter. That's an upset. But what they'd like to do, Chuck, is try to run on a passing down and pass on a running down so that Clemson's not able to set in there and know when you're going to do one or the other.
2nd down and 8. And if you talk about an upset with that Boston College score, I would like to be a Sugar Bowl official right now.
Yeah.
O'Donnell is sacked. Jesse Hatcher, number 55, pouring in there. Back at the 28-yard line.
O'Donnell trying to get something started. Drops back to about 6 to 7 yards. But there's Jesse Hatcher coming into your screen. The 7th sack of the year for Mr. Hatcher. He's a fine outside linebacker, and that was Richard Chavis who was putting the pressure on.
And he, of course, is a cousin of Barney Chavis, the former Denver Bronco great. Hatcher, boy, what a great story he is. He was the most valuable player in the National Junior College All-Star game just a few years ago. O'Donnell back to pass again. He has his receiver, but James Earl also has his receiver. That's Dennis Spinelli. And that will be, of course, nowhere near the first down marker. So on 4th down, Maryland will have to kick it away.
When they're your 3rd and 15, 3rd and 18, it doesn't look pretty when you drop the ball out there for 2 yards. But when there's no one open, the quarterback's got to get rid of it.
Darrell Wright gets the kick away very quickly. It is a low kick. Lott lets it bounce, takes it on the first hop, and here he comes. Has his feet taken out from under him out near the 45-yard line.
Richard Shure, the captain of the special teams for Maryland, was the fellow that made the shoestring tackle.
But Clemson has the football, and we will be back after this. 17-7, Clemson leading Maryland, 5:48 to play in the first half. Roman, we mentioned a while ago that on Clemson's last possession, they took 8 plays to get into the end zone, and they kept them all on the ground. And, you know, we need not forget here, Bob Arnold is gone from the middle of that defensive line for Maryland. He had the arm problem early on in the contest and had to leave. First and 10. Williams pitches it back, and Allen cuts back, gets a couple of yards out near the 47-yard line. Scott Saylor out of Penn Argyle, Pennsylvania, 6 feet, 220 pounds. He's a sophomore, so he'll be around on that Terrapin defense for a while to come.
Maryland accomplished what they wanted to do, and Clemson didn't quite do what they'd like. They have a 2nd and 8 rather than getting 4 or more yards on first down. So this puts them in a precarious situation. Even though it looks pass, a lot of times Clemson will run on 2nd and 8.
Allen and Johnson behind Williams. And this time he puts it in the air after the fake, after the play action, and Ricardo Hooper makes the nice reception right on the sideline. Obviously, he got the foot down, too, and that'll be good for a Clemson first down inside the 40.
Need quick hands to make this effective. Fakes the option play, comes up out of there, ball's up a little high. Ricardo Hooper pulls it down. Good thing Chad Sidnor got across the field to knock him out of bounds.
First and 10 for the Clemson Tigers now at the Maryland 39. They lead it by 10, marching for more. Play action, Williams again. He's going deep. He's got his receiver again, and a flag will fly. Pass interference will be called. Gary Cooper had that secondary beaten once more, and Chad Sidnor tripped up, fell into him, and pass interference will be called.
Fourth option on the option play is so effective, especially when you make the runs work. Made that fake to the fullback, drop straight back. Ball's on the money here, but there's a little pass interference. No way that Gary Cooper could have gotten to the ball with that interference.
We have defensive pass interference, 15-yard penalty, first down.
And Roman, I was looking right at Sidnor. He did not mean to fall into it, but he tripped up on the turf and trying to catch up to him. And when he fell, he just fell right into Cooper's legs.
Rodney Williams is having an exceptional day running that option and also throwing the football. He's so effective when Clemson has that running game going, and then they don't know when he's going to throw.
There's a good look at Rodney Williams. Johnson the up back, Allen the I back. First and 10. Ball now at the 24-yard line of Maryland. And we get some movement on the left side of the Clemson line. And once again, Ty Granger. And about now, Danny's going to want to call him over there and talk to him about that 3.2 grade point average.
That's probably what happens. Ty Granger works against William Perry, I was going to say. Works against Michael Dean Perry. He's coming out of the game, but in practice, Granger probably works against Michael Dean, and he gets used to the quickness. He's trying to come out of there too fast.
Well, there you see Danny talking to him.
Great conversation. Great conversation. I'd like to be down there to hear that one.
I imagine you heard a few in your time, didn't you?
Some of the things that coaches can say in the heat of the battle.
Well, 5-yard penalty, so it's first and 15 now. Ball at the 29. Here's Allen cutting back inside, finding some daylight down to the 25.
Scott Saylor, he's the fellow, the linebacker. Saylor makes that stop.
Had a little help from Robert Klein also, number 67 out of Frederick, Maryland. And we have a penalty on the play. Well, there you see holding on Clemson. That's not like a Danny Ford team to make back-to-back mistakes like that.
Offensive holding, 10-yard penalty.
No, it certainly isn't, and I know he's not happy about last week's game where they fumbled it 4 times, and all of a sudden in this game they've turned it over once and they've hurt themselves with penalties.
So now they've come all the way back to the 34-yard line. It is 1st and 20. Clemson got the benefit of the pass interference call, but now back-to-back penalties against them have moved the Tigers back to the Maryland 34. There's the pitch back. That's Allen. Allen shakes one tackler, gets it down inside the 30, and another flag flies.
The game's getting out of hand now.
Gary Cooper was out in front trying to make the block for him, but let's see what the penalty is. Clemson is walking back, once again holding.
That must be calling the receiver. Look at Danny Ford. He does it. Now he's starting to question the calls, I think. Not necessarily his players, but he's starting to question whether Gary Cooper, the outside receiver, number 25.
Holding. 10-yard penalty.
There's been such good blocking by the Tigers' outside people that now the officials are taking a good look to see if they're really blocking or holding.
You know, Danny Ford in his 9th year, Joe Krivak here in his 1st year at Maryland. Krivak's record 4-5, and you saw Ford's record a moment ago, 74 wins, 24 losses. Amazing. And another stat that I was reading about, do you know that when he has a returning quarterback back for a 2nd year, Danny Ford has been winning nearly 85% of his games. Phenomenal job he has done here with the Clemson football program. Williams, play action, buys himself a lot of time, and he's got his receiver down at the 15-yard line. Keith Jennings with the reception in tight coverage. Irvin Smith was right on top of him, but Jennings, another example of great concentration, Roman.
Beautiful play. Sprint to the wide side to field off a play action. Line up and throw back to the short side with Jennings coming on a square end, because all the flow of the secondary for the Terrapins will go wide side, and now it creates a vacuum back there to get that ball in.
Smith was right there, had him in his grasp. Jennings again with that great concentration, and if you're a quarterback, you got to love that. There's a guy you'll throw to all the time. First down for the Tigers. Wesley McFadden diving over the top, down inside the 15, down to the 13-yard line. That'll be good for another first down.
Getting a good shot here, the Maryland defense. Ball's taken back there by Wes McFadden as he piles over the top behind Jeff Back, Eric Harmon, and John Phillips once again to get that first down.
He's a little happier now, isn't he? Although you couldn't tell it there.
No.
First and 10 for Clemson. Allen the lone setback. Williams started to pitch it to him and then thought the better of it, cut inside and gets it inside the 10. Down to about the 8-yard line, where it will be 2nd down now and 6 to go. Kevin Walker again making the stop.
And going off that right side, John Phillips, the right guard, leading the way. Phillips actually was moving at the exact time the ball was snapped, so that meant he had an edge on his defensive player.
The I formation and Johnson and Allen behind Rodney Williams. And they give it to Allen, and Allen gets it inside the 5, down near the 4-yard line. He will be about 1.5 yards shy of the first down, so it will bring up 3rd down and 1.5 yards to go for the first down, but about 4 yards to go for the touchdown.
Big block by Tracy Johnson, the fullback, searching out his linebacker. Scott Saylor, that's called a pin when you knock the guy on his back. Terry Allen had a whopping hole to run through.
There you see Terry Allen on the afternoon, only 3 yards short of a 100-yard performance. Clemson 4 out of 7 on 3rd downs, and they've got a relatively short conversion attempt coming up here. That was Tracy Johnson carrying the football. He will be very near the first down. I will promise you they'll bring the sticks out and look at this one. Carl Edwards, number 11, made the tackle.
It's not like that play hasn't been seen before on short yardage. Every time 49 Lancaster comes in and goes in motion right side, Clemson has run that play 17 straight times. That's the 18th straight time they've run the same play.
And they are short. There you see. Referee Phillips indicates that it's about, what do you say, about 1.5 feet. And you know what this partisan Clemson crowd wants to see. Danny Ford checking with his coaches upstairs to see what they like. There's Treadwell.
I got to believe that Danny Ford in this situation early in the second quarter is going to go for it.
He's got a 10-point lead. Maryland, you see, has allowed only 2 rushing touchdowns in the last 5 games, but they've already given up 1 here this afternoon.
They sure have, and now they got Clemson knocking on the door again. With that offensive line up front, you would think that maybe Rodney Williams would carry on a quarterback sneak with the 3 big fellas they have there.
Well, with 1:42 to play here in the first half, Clemson's going to talk it over. Maryland, look at that. See Kevin Walker getting a little inspiration from his coaches on the sideline.
Defensive coach, he's telling Kevin Walker now, with the size that Rodney Williams has, tell him to be alert for the quarterback sneak.
That wouldn't be a bad call, but I'll tell you what. Tracy Johnson over the right guard. That's who I like.
You like that? I'll guarantee you, if 49 Lancaster comes in and goes motion right side, they're going to come over the right side, but they have done it 18 straight times.
Big play in this contest then coming up. Fourth down and about 1.5 feet to go. Clemson with a 10-point lead. If they put more on the board here, it could really dampen the Terrapins, not only their emotions, but also their chances in this contest. Tracy Johnson and Terry Allen in behind Williams, and you called it, Roman, the quarterback sneak. They go the safest route. Now let's see where they mark it. You know, I'm not so sure.
You never know, because we did the game up at Maryland a couple of weeks ago, and O'Donnell ran a quarterback sneak, and we thought he had it, and he was ruled not to have had it. So you don't really know anymore.
I see a Maryland defender signaling no. They're going to bring the chains in and take a look at it. He needed about 1.5 feet. Boy, that's as close as they get. So often you hear announcers say that it was by the nose of the football, but I'm here to tell you that time it was definitely by the nose of the football.
What does the big guy see? The head man at Clemson, Danny Ford. What do you see, Danny? Tell us.
Oh, he's not happy. He wanted by at least the length of the football.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, 1st and goal for Clemson. They keep the drive alive. They pitch it back. That's Allen. And Allen into the end zone, and the football is free, but touchdown. They really had possession as he crossed the plane. Ooh. Roman, I want to take another look at that.
Pitch back to the left side. That's Harmon coming out from his left guard position to lead the play, or Pat Williams. I'm sorry, that was Pat. Whoa! The ball was punched out by Kevin Walker about the time he crossed the plane of the goal line. So, whoa, I don't know about that.
Not about the time.
They lost one early in the game like that, so I guess it was time not to lose this one.
Well, there's no instant replay in college football. The extra point is good.
Be interesting.
And Clemson leads it now 24-7. But take a look at it, Roman.
Our crack people have it on camera once more. Coming around the left side. Watch this play now. Kevin Walker's hand right. Oh, my goodness gracious. I guess it depends on. Oh, Danny Ford's going to say it's a touchdown.
Well, he made the call, but great camera work by our producer, Quay Sistar, and our Jefferson Pilot crew. We'll be back after this. Roman, take another look. I'm still not convinced.
Pat Williams, the left guard, leads the play. There's the fullback, Tracy Johnson, making a nice hit. And Terry Allen, he's going to swing up in the air, take a couple of steps, and there's Kevin Walker, the All-American candidate. The ball's out on the ground. Unless that official saw the ball cross the plane and bingo and said that's a touchdown.
Well, it is a touchdown. 24-7 now. Clemson with the lead. 1:17 to play in the first half. At the conclusion of today's game, we'll be picking 2 Holiday Inn's most valuable players of the game. I will promise you one will not be the official. And in fairness, you know, we are sitting here, we're looking at camera angles and so forth, and that official is positioned right on the goal line. So, I mean, he does have a definitive look.
So what you're saying is the official was right.
I'm just hedging my bet. That's what I'm doing. Dusty Sile set to kick it off again. The ball teed up at the 35-yard line. That is number 1, Mike Beasley. And Beasley gets very little room, but gets it out to the 25-yard line nevertheless. Coming up at halftime, you'll want to stick around with us because we'll take a look around the league at what's going on in the ACC. ACC champions, you'll want to definitely pay attention to that. One for the books on our Jefferson Pilot scoreboard. So stick with us at halftime. 24-7, Clemson now leading. And now, Roman, if you're Neil O'Donnell, I guess you got to immediately start thinking about throwing it quite a bit. And he does. He hits his receiver. That's number 80, Vernon Joins, and that's good for about a 9-yard gain, close to a first down, just past the 35, out near the 36-yard line. Donald Wolford, who has been all over the football field this afternoon, was there on the coverage. And now look at this. Maryland in the hurry-up offense. Time is winding down here in the first half. Again, he has his receiver, and out of bounds goes Brent Lowry. Pickup of about 5 yards.
Good look there at the Clemson Tigers zone defense and what we would call a prevent. 4 linebackers dropping back 10 yards deep. The linebackers are getting into position to take away the throw, and the corners dropping deep 1/3 to
dead
keep.
ball foul. Late hit on the defense. First down.
Jesse Hatcher flagged for an infraction there. Bit of a late hit out of bounds, so they will tack 15 more yards onto the reception. And now Maryland with an excellent opportunity with 55 seconds left to play here in the first half. The ball at the 44-yard line of the Clemson Tigers.
Maryland's going to have to try to hit in the 10 to 12-yard area because the Clemson linebackers in that zone coverage are dropping back 15, and the corners are even getting deeper so that you don't get the long bomb.
O'Donnell at 6'3" and 204. He's got that great size for a quarterback. He's just a sophomore. He's got to scramble with it now. He does so and hits his receiver at the 41-yard line. It'll be a short gain for Vernon Joins. James Lott over on the coverage for Clemson.
96, Richard McCullough applying the pressure, Chuck.
46 seconds now to play in the half. Maryland needs to get something on the board here before halftime. If they can get a field goal, that would be wonderful for them going in. Second down and 7. O'Donnell shoots it over the middle. He's got his Joins, and Joins got plenty of running room down to the 20-yard line. Vernon Joins was wide open over the middle, Roman, and what happened in the secondary?
Secondary again in a zone coverage. The linebackers dropping back 15 yards deep, and the corners lining up in their zones getting deep third. So underneath is where the Clemson or where Maryland can get their yardage.
Clock stops on the first down and now resumes. 33 seconds. O'Donnell again to Lowry, and Lowry steps out of bounds at the 14. Dorian Marable out of Spartanburg for Clemson on the coverage.
Maryland has 3 timeouts, so they can very easily get in 3 to 4 more plays and be very selective about what they're trying to do.
27 seconds still remaining in the first half. Again, the 3 timeouts for Maryland.
One thing, the secondary coach, Bill Oliver, who has professional experience, he's not afraid to bring some people when you get inside the 15-yard line.
Roman, I like the poise we're seeing from this young sophomore quarterback. They give the running play up the middle, Brent Lowry. And now they'll take a timeout with 21 seconds. Number 77, J.C. Harper, makes the stop for Clemson. A short gain, but now down to the 12, 13-yard line is where they'll mark it.
They're going to run the draw play. Not a bad call here. Jesse Hatcher's going to miss right, or that's Tony Stevens. He misses. But the Clemson defensive line, they were there, very aggressive, pursued it well.
When you've got 3 timeouts, why not try the draw down in there? Clemson defense has just seen, what, 4 consecutive passes. They're sitting in there perhaps thinking pass, and you make a guy miss and you maybe got 6 points.
That's true, Chuck. And one of the things you set up down here, if Maryland happens to have the play, come back and fake the draw, holds the linebackers. Now you got a shot to get behind them.
O'Donnell, after conferring with the Terrapin brain trust on the sideline, has what he likes, and he's back into the huddle. You know, he's got great numbers on the afternoon. It's almost overshadowed by the fact that Clemson's been running the football so well, but O'Donnell now 9 out of 11 in the air for 129 yards.
And he's been completing 62%, almost 63% of his passes since he started playing 3 weeks ago.
He's got 3rd down and 2. He's still got his 2 timeouts in 21 seconds. He could come with another running play perhaps for his 1st down, or he may go back to the air. And that's what he's going to do. He's got a receiver right over the middle. Trying to break a tackle inside the 5 to the 4 is Dennis Spinelli out of the backfield. And immediately Maryland calls timeout. 13 seconds now remain.
Going to drop straight back, a quick set, so he can get rid of that ball on time. There's Spinelli, checks down out of the backfield. Spinelli has caught 25 passes this year. Now that's his 2nd this game, so he's up to 27. He's a good check-off type of receiver.
Boy, and you really, again, let's compliment O'Donnell. The fact that, you know, a young quarterback, he looks for his primary receiver. He doesn't find him, and then comes back, finds his safety, keeps his poise, realizing again that the clock's against him here, but now he's got the ball inside the 5-yard line and still 13 seconds left.
Right here, Joe Krivak's telling O'Donnell now, one thing we don't want down here is a turnover. Don't throw an interception, fire it out of the end zone. They have 2 plays. I've seen them work here. They'll bring a guy in motion and end up in the slot, and they'll sprint O'Donnell out and try to hit somebody in the end zone, or they'll run a bootleg, which is a similar type play.
So you've got your 1st down, you've got 13 seconds. How many plays are you thinking you can get in?
You can get a good 2 plays in here.
This partisan Clemson crowd going to make it difficult. 1st and goal. They lob it up in the end zone. Incomplete. They tried to go to Raouf in the corner of the end zone, but Donald Wolf was inch for inch in the air with him.
He sure was. That Wolford is quite a player. All this is a sky or alley-oop. A lot of people call it a short streak. The ball's up in the air 2 steps. Seeing who can out-leap who here. Donnell Wolford's got tremendous vertical jump, and that's what defensive backs need. They break those patterns up to the big guys.
That play took 5 seconds. There's 8 seconds left to play now in the 1st half. 24-7. Clemson leads Maryland, but the Terrapins knocking on the door. Incomplete. And O'Donnell just fired that one away. That took 4 more seconds. It is now 3rd down.
Jesse Hatcher was coming from his linebacking spot, which also Vince Taylor. So the Tigers came with a 5-man rush, which I don't think that they expected on the other side of the ball. Maryland did.
So with 4 seconds left, Joe Krivak sends in his field goal unit, Dan Plocky. And this will amount to not much more than an extra point attempt. Plocky is straight ahead kicker. He nails it, and it is good. So with the time expired, Maryland tacks on 3 more to pull within 14, and we'll go to the locker rooms with Clemson leading Maryland 24-10. So there you have it, 24-10 at the half. We will be back after this message from your local ACC station. Clemson 24, Maryland 10 at Frank Howard Field here in Death Valley, Clemson, South Carolina. Welcome to Around the League with Interstate, brought to you by Interstate Securities, serving investors in the Southeast since 1932. This has been a good one. 24-10. We stand at halftime. Clemson with the lead, but Roman, I think Maryland feels a little bit better now after they drove the football down there in the closing minutes and got 3 points.
I agree with you, Chuck. I think into the locker room, Maryland's going to talk about coming back, throwing the short passing game, getting underneath the linebackers, and then running whenever Clemson least expects it. Run on a passing down, because they're in this ball game. They just got to move the ball with a little bit more consistency.
They also need on defense to shut down that Clemson running attack.
That's right.
Well, we, of course, would like to take you to look around the league at what's been going on in the ACC. Steve Martin now takes us around the league.
The homebound Clemson Tigers took a rare road trip to Chapel Hill to face the Tar Heels in a battle for the #1 spot in the ACC. With 2 minutes left in the first half, quarterback Rodney Williams found Gary Cooper wide open, and Clemson took a 7-0 lead. Clemson Clemson running backs would fumble 4 times, including this Terry Allen miscue, which led to the Tar Heels' only touchdown and a 7-7 tie. Tailback Torin Dorn came back from an ankle injury to make a big contribution to the Tar Heel offense. Rushing honors for Clemson go to fullback Tracy Johnson. This 23-yard run helped get David Treadwell in position to put the Tigers ahead with a 42-yard field goal. With 7:45 to go in the game, North Carolina's Kenny Miller tied the score with a 48-yard field goal. Next, while Treadwell warmed up on the sidelines, the Tiger offense went to work on a 67-yard drive that ate up over 7 minutes on the clock. Finally, Treadwell was called on with 32 seconds remaining. And for the 6th time in his career, David Treadwell won the game for Clemson with less than a minute left in the game. This week, the ACC honored Tracy Johnson and Michael Dean Perry as Players of the Week.
We are back at Death Valley, and there you see the score at the half. Clemson leading Maryland by 14 points at 24-10. And we are being entertained by some music that's back from our day, Roman. I hear the Clemson band playing in the background.
The Jefferson Pilot Scoreboard, brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies.
Chuck Dowdle and Roman Gabriel with you, and there you see our score at the half. Clemson leading Maryland 24-10 here at Death Valley. Some other scores of interest, though, happening around the country. Well, now Boston College and Syracuse tied at 17 at the half, and I know Sugar Bowl officials are breathing a little easier, as apparently Syracuse is the team that's headed there. Michigan and Illinois also tied at 7.
Well, look at this game. Houston 17, Temple 7. That one at halftime.
Kentucky and Florida, of course, that one down in Gainesville, and the Wildcats are really struggling in recent weeks. The Gators winning that one 17-0. There you see the Maryland Terrapins getting ready to take the field here again. How about that? Rutgers and West Virginia tied at 10. Second quarter score.
Duke 7, North Carolina State 3. Sladen hit Clarkston Hines with a 22-yard touchdown pass in that game.
You know, Roman, I know NC State lost last week to East Tennessee State. Kind of interesting, though, both of these teams, Maryland and Clemson, both lost to NC State. So the ACC conference, while Maryland and Clemson have won the championships over the past 6 years, one of those two schools, there's certainly some surprises from some of the other schools.
So basically what you're telling me is that the Wolfpack should be the best team in the ACC.
That's right. Here come the Clemson Tigers back with a 14-point lead. We will be back after this message from your local ACC station for the second half.